Mystic Lake, the official playoff partner of the Minnesota Vikings. This is Vikings Live, Wild Card Week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cowboy Jacks here in Plymouth. We are so excited to be here. Are you guys excited? This is Vikings Live Wild Card Edition. Joining me is Jim Rich, our sports director, and of course, Pete Bursich, that needs no introduction. Welcome so much, Pete. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. And what's been great is being able to do these, different locations night after night. We're going to be at the Mall of America again, tomorrow, and just seeing it build, right? That slow crescendo to what's going to be, I think, an awesome Sunday afternoon.
Jimmy, it was super packed where you were yesterday.
Oh,
huh?
yeah, absolutely. Oh, look at this. We already got the baby coming up here. Here's a little Viking fan. Pete, let's hope he wins a Super Bowl before he's 50, eh?
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
You can just tell that playoff excitement is in the air. We have so much coming up for you in the next half hour. Not only will be the three of us breaking down and hearing from some of the players today, but also John Randall will be here live and in person. Our own Tatum will be here to talk. Tatum Everett is talking with John Randall live. And, of course, we're going to break down all of the matchups around the NFL. But first of all, we're going to start with some of the players, and specifically one who has been around the block, so to speak. Adam Thielen, wide receiver. He's been telling some of the younger guys what it is like to be here on time in the playoffs, but it's at home. So, Pete, this guy has a lot of experience, but to be home and to kick it off is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to have a different feel to it. But the one thing for sure that Adam Thielen can provide is just some perspective for the younger guys about what it's like to play in this type of environment. Meaning, once you get to the playoffs, everything is more intense. The game plans are thicker. You have more mental responsibility. And earlier this week, actually last night, Patrick Peterson talking about the playoff game, saying there's no more my bad. There's no more, whatever. And I think on top of it, and this is a part maybe the players don't want to think about too much, is what they do now is big. I mean, Denny Green would talk about it. He'd say, you playing on Monday night, everybody's watching. Well, this is the playoffs. Everybody's going to be watching. And if you want to leave a legacy, right? I mean, if you want people to really talk about you and really know you, guys like Justin Jefferson, if you really want to be considered the best, this is the time that you put up. This is the time that you get out there and you make plays that people just, can't believe. And that is how you build a legacy. So there's so much individually and then as a team as well that's on the line in these types of games.
What do you see Adams' role in this game? Because it seems like KJ Osborne has been sliding into that wide receiver 2 spot. Is Adams' role changing a little bit, or is it just been what defense have been allowing the Vikings to do?
Yeah, I don't know if it's been changing much, but I think that Adam Thielen is still very, very dangerous of a wide receiver in the red zone. And the reason being is he's one of the best route runners that there is in the NFL. He's been around a long time. He still has all the quickness, maybe not the top-end speed he once had, but he still has that knowledge. And that's the most important thing, because when you get in the red zone, everything gets compacted. Everybody's standing on top of each other. You can't throw the ball 20, 30, 40 yards down the field when you're on the 10-yard line. So the underneath movement and those things become imperative, and that's important. And so that's where I see him fitting in, right? Between him and T.J. Hockenson, who's just a big body, you have a lot of options in the red zone, and that's why our offense is one of the better teams in the league in that category.
You spoke to Adam earlier this morning, and we were talking to him about that balance between being a veteran in the locker room and having younger guys that are just coming up. So they want them to treat it like another game, but they have to have that one-or-done mentality. This is what he had to say.
Definitely there's things you pick up from playing in the playoffs, and then kind of bring that to some of these young guys that haven't been in the playoffs and what that atmosphere is like. I mean, those games that we had, or the game that we had in U.S. Bank Stadium, and the atmosphere and the energy and the kind of anticipation that's in that building from the moment you walk in. There's just nothing like it. So there's not really a lot that you can say. It's kind of more just when guys get to the building, they start feeling it. They kind of feel the preparation this week. It's just different when it's playoffs. It's win or go home. You have one opportunity each week to stay alive, and it's a different type of feeling when you get in this building.
Well, obviously, Adam knows what's coming next, but you alluded to it, Pete. Justin Jefferson, he can be such a game changer. And if this team is going to make a Super Bowl run, he will be all over this club to get there. What happens for Justin on Sunday? Because he did very well against the Giants the first time, but then we saw teams like the Packers really get in his face, shut him down. Do you see the Giants attempting some kind of coverage like that?
Well, I mean, I look at specifically what happened with Green Bay, and he had his opportunities. We just couldn't get him the football.
Okay.
The one touchdown that he had against the Giants in the first game on Christmas Eve was, there was a man and a half, if not, he was almost doubled, and he still was able to get in there and score that touchdown. So, knowing Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the Giants, as well as I do, he's an aggressive guy by nature, right?
They blitz all the time, right?
Having a Dory Jackson back in their lineup, well, we don't know for sure, but we're expecting him to play. Will that make him feel comfortable to have a Dory one-on-one? Not all the time, but a lot of the time on Justin Jefferson. And if he can do that and he feels comfortable doing that, then you might see more pressure than we did the first time that we played this New York Giants defense.
Well, let me ask you this. Question was posed to him that if you don't go all the way, go to the Super Bowl, are the numbers that you put up personally kind of less than? And he said, I think people are going to say that, but I can only do what I can do.
Well, yeah, like I said, if he wants to make a mark, right, and he alludes to being the best receiver in the NFL, and I think arguably there's you look at the top receivers in the NFL. It's him, Devontae Adams right now. I think those two guys are kind of going back and forth when you see people talk about him. Then you got to put up, right? There's a lot of pressure on him. But the thing with that is certain guys respond. They definitely respond when.
Look who's walking in.
Look who's walking in. Why I showed up.
How are you, Johnny?
He'll
be joining us in a second. Go ahead, say hi to Pete.
Yeah, so being able to carry that pressure
kind of takes over a room
to it and take that to the next level. I can't wait to see what Justin Jefferson does and how he is. He's going to want the football more. All those different things. So, it's going to be fantastic.
All right, what about this Giants receiving core? They don't get the headlines like Justin gets.
Right.
What kind of problems can they throw at the Vikings secondary this week?
You've got guys like Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins who are big-body wide receivers, and we know that the Giants love to attack the middle of the field, and they do it in a lot of creative ways, just like that play right there against the Colts, just finding Isaiah Hodgins, just finding the hole, getting the receivers one-on-one against the linebackers in the middle of the field, finding ways to clear out the middle of the field so those guys can operate. That's very, very important. And then you have Richie James, who's kind of the wiggle guy. He's a quicker, he'd be the jet sweep kind of guy. He had a couple drops. He had a drop or two against us that were very, very important. And one would have been a first down toward the end of the game. So not a very ballyhooed type of a receiving core, but they're very, very good at what they do. They're very, very physical. They're not afraid to get hit. They'll catch the balls in tight situations, like tight windows. And, I don't see that necessarily being a huge advantage for them.
Okay.
But if we allow them the middle of the field and we don't take care of the linebackers, don't take care of their real estate, Shannon Sullivan is going to be pressed quite a bit in crossing routes and things like that. They're more than capable of moving the football that way.
Well, the resident Swami in the house is Patrick Peterson. He's calling all these interceptions. He always says, hey, I just have a feeling, and I've been calling it. But he said it's also a really good thing to be facing a team they just faced on Christmas Eve. So that's really good. So this is what he has to say about kind of shutting down the Giants' wide receiving core.
We really wasn't bad talking one another. He was just saying that he caught a pass on me, and I was just telling him, just relax. It's a 4-quarter game. The quarterback continues to try me. I will pick one of his balls off. So that ended up happening, and it's actually started from the receiver on their sideline. He wasn't even dressed. I'm not even going to say his name, but it started with him. So he poked the bear a little bit, and his team had to pay for it.
Well, we heard that last night in the one-on-one that we did with Patrick. You don't want to poke the bear. But let's talk about his role this year. And I remember one quote he said early this season is that I'm not running all over the place anymore. Under Ed Donatell's system, I can kind of take a breath. What does he mean by that?
Well, I think that, especially I think the younger corners and younger defensive backs, when they talk to Patrick Peterson, he spent his career chasing the number one wide receiver, right, no matter where they lined up. And so that's that's a lot of pressure, but he gets paid a lot of money. So I mean, that's what he does. That's his job. That's why he's in the league. So for him, the ability to just take care of his side of the field, right? Every once in a while, they'll put him to they put him in the field, put Duke Shelley into the boundary, and do some certain things like that. But he's not worried about the cat coverage, meaning every time the other team breaks the huddle, he's got to find some guy and go running over this way, and then. Yeah, as a cornerback, left and right are pretty mirrored, but there's still a lot more to it, right? There's still a lot more to it, and just knowing the boundaries and being able to settle down a little bit. I think it's allowing him to take a little bit of a breath in that respect, and I think he appreciates it.
And, he said, hey, I can be really calm about it, too. I got that interception. I didn't have to say a word. I just got it and let my actions do the talking. So hopefully he can do that again on Sunday. But stick around. We're just getting started here on Vikings Live Wildcard. When we come back, you saw him. He's in the house. John Randall joins us. He is never boring. He never shrinks to anything. And he's going to be larger than life when we come back. Don't go away.
watching Vikings Live Wild Card Week, presented by Mystic Lake.
Welcome back to Cowboy Jackson, Plymouth, and what a packed house we have here tonight. Jim Rich, along with Don Mitchell, and Vikings analyst Pete Bursich, and Pat. Pete, you packed them in last night. Everybody was there to see you.
They're all here to see my man Johnny.
Okay.
Madcap. They're all here to see you.
Yes,
Tatum.
sir. Yes, they all want to see the Hall of Famer Tatum. Now, go ahead with John Randall.
All right, thanks, Jim. Yeah, John Randall here at Cowboy Jacks, and we're excited to see you. You walk in here wearing all the NFL gear, ready for Sunday. What are you excited about to see these Vikings against the Giants?
I'm excited about a victory. I want to see the Vikings come out, play an excellent game, come out with a W. That's what I want to see.
Now, the Giants were just in here, and offensive lineman Nick Gates said that these Vikings fans are too nice. It wasn't very loud, and he was surprised by it. What do you think the atmosphere will be like on Sunday?
Oh, really? He said that?
He said that.
Well, he better get in store for some excitement, get in store for some cheering, some loud Vikings fans, because I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be part of the cheering, too.
Well, you have 13 NFL playoff games under your belt. As a player, what changes in your mind when you are in the postseason?
Playoffs, you're nervous. You don't want to make any mistakes. You try to play, if you can, play better in the playoffs. You try to take away the little mistakes, and you try to make sure everybody's on the same page, and you try to make sure that everybody goes to bed early, make sure everybody comes out to play, and remember that the playoffs, you got one chance, and so make sure that's in the back of everybody's mind.
It is one or done, do or die. Several of the players have said that this week, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be a very electric atmosphere. In fact, just here at Cowboys Jacks, I just spoke to a fan who drove 4 hours to be here. So we expect a lot of fan support on Sunday.
Of course, that's Minnesota Vikings fan. The Skull, baby. They come out from everywhere. All over the country, all over the world. Skull!
That's the energy we need. Thanks so much to John Randall. Back to you guys at the desk. What a fun time.
He never could get a place rolling, can he? Look at that. He's got them all standing and cheering. It's unbelievable what Johnny could do. Speaking of special, which Mr. Randall is, special teams for this Vikings. There's been some few issues in the last couple of weeks. A 61-yard field goal to win against the Giants.
Yep.
Then some extra points may not go quite the way.
There's also a block punt that helped, win that game against the Giants. So I do know this. We have one of the more aggressive special teams units, especially when it comes to the punt punt returns in that respect. But for Joseph, I'll say this: he's been up and he's been down. He's been outside, but plays like that, the 65-yard, the confidence that can build. Because we've seen him struggle, and we've seen him within the same game. We saw that in Chicago. He struggled early, but overcame that late and was solid the rest of the game. And every time the kickers are able to do that, to overcome, adversity and those kinds of things throughout a game, they get better and they get more solid mentally. They get more solid in everything that they do. And being inside, I think from that aspect, we'll be in great shape. Ryan Wright's been fantastic punting all year. His first touchback was against the Giants, I believe. So it's going to be the field position side of things. And then Josh Metellus, we saw him block a punt. He's blocked 2 this year. He's now a captain on the team. He and Patrick Harris are a pretty formidable duo when it comes to rushing the punter. And if you can make those guys hurry up, shorten the punt, less field to cover, each segment of the game, offense, the defense, and special teams is always in there in between somewhere, and they all have to build on one another.
Well, and I think what Daniels was also trying to say is when it comes to the postseason, it's even more high impact when it comes to special teams. You mentioned Josh Metellus. They've got to be ready for all of that. And he said they also have to stay loose at the same time.
Right, they do. And the other part of it, too, is if the Giants mess around and get a couple kickoffs short, you have Kene Nwanu, who has a touchdown this year. He had 2 last year. He can make something big happen as well. So I think, in that matchup, you have to like the Vikings special teams unit. We had them on their heels, the Giants on their heels when they came here last time. I expect more of the same this Sunday.
Make no mistake, special teams coach Matt Daniel says this is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a battle, and they have to be ready for it. And let me tell you, this guy's not shy for giving a good soundbite. He will have his team ready.
We kind of talked about keys to victory, and at the end of the day, you know, this game is a mano-a-mano type of game where it's punter versus punter, kicker versus kicker, perimeter versus perimeter, and core versus core. And so, you know, Greg Joseph is competing against Graham Gano at the end of the day. Ryan Wright is competing against the Scottish Hammer at the end of the day. And so we just got to find a way to win those one-on-one matchups and dominate our opponent at the end.
Mano-a-mano, right? Mano-a-mano battle.
I couldn't hear a word he said.
All right,
Trust
we're
me,
taking to a break. We'll look at the Dolphins and Bills and
This is Vikings Live Wild Card Week, presented by Mystic Lake.
Welcome back to Vikings Live here at Cowboy Jackson, Plymouth. Thank you so much for being with us. What a great crowd, right? hanging on here even after John Randall's been in the house. But there's other games going on that these Vikings fans are keeping an eye on because they want their team to get on to the next few rounds. One game, Pete Bursich, is the Bills and the Dolphins. And you can't talk about that game without Josh Allen. And he just seems to be getting stronger and stronger, especially after going through the Damar Hamlin situation. What do you like about him so far?
What I like about him is just his toughness and his ability to run the football. And even when things aren't going well, he's had some rough stretches where he's thrown a lot of interceptions. He still, finds a way, especially against us. He pull that thing down and run. He's very, very difficult to stop completely. Now, for Miami, the situation with Tua, they're going to go into this game with Skylar Thompson. I mean, it may be the least compelling game of the week for that reason. And I think that for the Bills, it's going to be key for them. If they're up there, it's cold, get ahead, get early, let Miami know it's not going to be their day, and, go from there. But Miami's a good, solid football team that I think is underperformed in that respect. But obviously the injuries to Tua, you go from one of the best passing offenses in the league to now they're going to be struggling a little bit. So
what does Skyler have to do? Does he one of those that they say just manage the game?
Yeah,
or does he have to do more here for his team to win?
I think for him, he can't go out of body. He can't try to do too much. They're going to have to fall back on their defense to make some plays. And that in that respect, the defense going against Buffalo, going against those Josh Allen, they're going to have Diggs, etc. They're going to have a tough time. Singletary's a very, very good running back as well. So the thing with the Bills, they've had this experience, right? They've been down this road. They've been to some championship games. That is going to propel them. I think they're going to take this added juice of the playoffs and really make that team better. The Hamlin situation brings them closer together. I'm very, very interested to see how the Bills perform as a team.
Well, let's talk about the emotions of the Hamlin situation. You've been on teams where emotions can take you further. They already have the talent. What can that do for them?
I think for them, for any player, you've all been out there and seen guys get hurt right in front of us, and you take that moment, and you're saying, "Thank God I'm healthy. Thank God that I'm not in that situation." Because I've been seeing it and I've been on the ground before,
Absolutely.
right? So, you have to just let that go and put it out of your mind and go from there. And that's what they're going to need to do.
All right, that'll do it for us here at Cowboys Jack. Tomorrow night, Mall of America, Rotunda. Don and Pete will be there. Let's see you on Sunday. Game, of course, is on Fox 9. That'll do it for us. Good night, everybody.